Now, most people think they ought to be able to beat this little alarm in their head or beat procrastination and get into action by employing willpower. You know, big discipline and effort. And if you just talk to yourself in your head like you're a general, then you'll be able to get where you want to go. And I mean, really, if you tell the truth, how well has that ever actually worked for you? It only makes a tiny difference for a small amount of people, and it's not very sustainable. There are actually other ways to get past this little alarm that allow you to get into action without feeling all the dread. But you don't have to take my word for it. Here's an example most people have lived through. Have you ever been to some party or social event where you were all dressed up, you were feeling terrific, and then some person came up to you and said something really, really rude? It shocked you, it embarrassed you, they put you on the spot, and you just kind of stammered, and you didn't know what to say? You were at a loss for words, and then you left the room? And then somehow, magically, 5 or 10 minutes later, all of a sudden, you know exactly what you should have said to that person. You can think of 2 or 3 perfect retorts that would have just put them in their place. And then you go through this litany in your head like, what am I, a moron? Why couldn't I think of that in the moment? What in the heck was wrong with me? Nothing was wrong with you. That was your alarm kicking in. That's exactly what happens. When the alarm kicks in, the blood actually leaves your top brain. It actually goes to your arms and legs because back in caveman days, you needed to be able to run like crazy when the tiger came so you could get out of Dodge. So the blood leaves your brain, and the things that you knew a minute ago, you don't have access to anymore. So that's why things like willpower and discipline and force and effort, or making a big list and making a plan and trying to stick to it, don't actually work well when this alarm kicks in, because it all goes out the window when all that chemistry happens in your body. Is this starting to make a little bit of sense? I bet you're wondering why nobody ever talked about it before. Well, people just haven't put this together. And everything out in the world that I've ever found having to do with willpower, or actually having to do with beating procrastination, is about willpower, discipline, force and effort, and just you shouldn't be such a lazy person. And I'm here to say we all have this alarm. It kicks in for everybody. It kicks in for different people for different reasons. I mean, we all know people who are earning 10 times more money than we are, right? And yet, do you really think those people are 10 times smarter than you? No. They've either learned how to get into action without tripping the little alarm, or their alarm doesn't get tripped in the area of making money and success. It gets tripped in other places in their life, usually in relationships or some other arena. So go ahead and check out the next video, and I'll speak to you a little more about how this works and what you can do. Thank you. Now, when you learn and begin to use the procrastination cure system, you're not only going to be able to go for your goals and dreams without kicking off that little alarm in your brain, you're actually going to be rewiring your neural net for success. That's right. That's what we're up to, which is really a bigger game, don't you think? Because right now, if you're like any of the thousands of clients that I've worked with, each time you go for a goal, you are grooving in a pattern of failure in your neural net. It's way bigger than a habit. So when you go for a big goal and you don't follow through, 3 big things happen. Number 1, you don't hit your target. That's not very fun, but that's not the big problem. Number 2, your self-esteem takes a big hit, doesn't it? I mean, most often we have a big idea, we make a big bold change, we make a big bold new thing we do. Like you haven't been to the gym in a year and all of a sudden you're going to run a mile every day. And yet when you do that and after a week it's fallen off because life happens and life is hard and life intrudes, you feel bad about yourself. And most people feel net worse than they did when they started. So that's not very good. But the third one is the big whammy. The third one is you have now successfully created a pattern of losing with your non-cognitive or unconscious mind, who is now saying, well, she doesn't follow through or he doesn't follow through. Why should I harness all the big resources I have at my disposal? Because every time he goes for a goal, every time she says she's going to do it, she doesn't follow through. So you're actually making it much harder to be successful at the next goal that you try for. Why not change this pattern now? Why not do something different and have your life be easier? Isn't it time for you to have the big money and success you've always dreamed of? So don't take my word for it. Check out the results right over there and see what real results have been happening for real people just like you. If it's time for you to get the cure, go ahead and give it a try. Thanks. Have a wonderful day.